Banani's transport before it can do anything. And in no other cases.
That has never before happened in the tourney.
Not once. In the history of FAF has a person lost their transport on a 20 by 20 kilometer map.
Exactly. Nice start 30 minutes too late. It's already...
We got into the game. It took us 35 minutes, what we got here.
We did get into the game.
We sort of kind of have players in most of the groups, and we're off to the races.
Wait, you can't veto map... Oh, never mind.
No,
that means... I thought he meant something different. Never mind, ignore me.
You know, I probably should have spent some of that 35 minutes explaining the format of this tournament. It's occurred to me.
Yeah, explain it to me too.
Yeah, so it is a round robin across 4 groups, best of 3 in every group, and the top 2 advance to the playoffs next Saturday.
What does Robin have to do with it?
Batman was taken.
Okay. Understandable. Would we read? Excellent start.
Why?
Lack of UI mods? Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no! I'll let Blast decide what he wants to do here. If he wants to let him.
Oh yeah.
Because otherwise, you know, you fight with the UI mods you have, not the UI mods you want.
And if the I also have to disable a certain UI mod.
You would never leave Supreme Scoreboard on, would you?
Nah. Oh, I guess nothing is happening. I guess they continue to play.
They're just gonna continue. I don't know if some of us pinged me in.
It depends
FAF,
what
but...
UI mods. Like if it's all UI mods, it's pretty gassed, but I'm not sure why all of them would be disabled randomly.
But neither of them have paused to ask me, so they'll just have to live with their decisions.
I mean, he asked his opponents, and Blast said, "I don't know," and they just continued to play. It's not really our responsibility.
Yeah, if they wanted to figure it out, they could pause. But otherwise, we're seeing a 5P gen versus 4P gen start with lots of assist on the NG factory from Blast Shield. Is this the meta now? When did I miss? Like 2 NG assist?
I mean, Blast has, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 engineers, 8. Well, Banani has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, the engineers is almost. No, Blast has like 1 more, 2 more.
Alright.
I mean, maybe because of that, Blast could afford sending his some earlier engineers to expand. Like especially the one going to the right islands. That Banani is sent quite a bit later. So it's first transport from Banani, but it is a bit idle. Maybe you should move it. There we go. I was about to say, it's really unfortunate if the scout from Blast like sees it.
Yeah, that would be very unfortunate, but it looks like it has very easily made it out in time.
Yeah.
You'll see an interceptor, but
well, the singles,
nice.
Yeah, it's a very late scout from Banani, minute 3.5. Oh, Trans Inti and only then a scout. He did catch the scout from Blast, so that's a nice pickup. Scouts are really important on
that scout could have figured out that there was going to be a drop here by.
I mean, he probably did, considering the Inti was going to the right side. So it's kind of makes sense. Although it's not 100% evidence, of course. But this lab on the transports and the fact that Blast dropped 2 extra engineers means that Banani is just gonna win this location for now. He's actually gonna be aggressive with the lab, but Blast, didn't he scout it with the Inti that was a drop, or?
He sees that there is a drop, and he sees the transport, but 3 NGs versus...
Okay, I was about to say, he should instantly evac back out, because this is not You know, but there's 2 inties. He lost the intie fight, and there's 1 backup intie. So, and there was a bomber coming from Banani as well, but he instantly sent it left because he realized he won the right side. His transfers from Blast will get shut down. It's a bit unfortunate, but it's considering he managed to get the factory online on the location in front, on the islands in between. It's not as bad because it's not completely. You know, if you don't drop engineers midway and just lose your entire transport with engineers, then it's really bad.
But now he's just gonna drop the lab on this island with an engineer and then leave.
I mean, it's not that big. Honestly, I'd say the undrop lab would be bad because Blast is also suiciding ETs to try and kill the transport.
I mean, the interesting thing is Banani doesn't get this transport back to go drop left side. So, even though it's still technically alive for now, it can't actually be useful other than a way to lure Blast's inties to this location.
And now this lab actually dies to a single tank, so it's the lab wasn't really a threat.
Yeah, there was already a factory here.
Yeah. So now there's a transport coming from Blast to the left side. There are 2 inties from Banani on his main island, but they completely missed the transport. There is a bomber in place though and the scouts, so this is gonna be pretty important. It's important to notice though that Banani completely skipped his own island to the left of his base.
Yeah, he's gonna rely on 1 NG to just do all the work to get all of that.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a lot slower than Blast. So even if Blast also loses this left island, if his ACU can just walk to the top right, which is what he's gonna be doing most likely, especially as Seraphim, then it's not necessarily over. Because I feel like he is gonna lose this. There's only 3 engineers he's dropping. There's an enemy bomber and an enemy transport with 6 engineers.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult to win, if not just instantly lose everything here.
The bomber might... Okay, that's so lucky from Blast. I don't know if you noticed that. Because they stopped right before the bomb dropped, or right after, so... But
there's already a factory up.
And he has got it scouted, so he shouldn't... honestly, should just give up on this. Split his engineers around. Maybe build some nexus.
Yeah.
But okay, Banani actually made a second transport and dropped on the island in between, so he does get that under control for now.
All right, I like this a lot. He's securing this island with a second transport, so that allowed him to skip dropping engineers here. Yeah, it'll delay his control of this side, but it's fine. We're seeing Blast build quite a few land units on the bottom right island, and his ACU is walking to the right. I think he's going to try to retake this position here.
Yeah, there's only 2 factories there from Banani. It's just really big underinvestment, I think. Because, I mean, he's assisting some factories with... with Mantis, never mind. But, I mean, I think Blast is making a bit of a mistake, making too many tanks instead of arties, but, you know, I mean, he can transport some units there, of course, but there's no counter to the ACU. 2 factories is not enough against an ACU in 2 factories, even if you have the initial, advance.
Blast is getting some nice early frigates out on the map. No investment in Navy by Banani so far, but these frigates should be able to deny some annexes and be very annoying getting into the back line over here.
Yeah, that's true. Frigates are very good at raiding on this map. I mean, they're not crucial, but you kind of always want to have some frigates for that reason. No overinvestment though, just a few Navy factories he has for now, which is kind of fine. He is slightly behind on tech to maxes, but not by a huge margin. He's gonna have 3 in a second, while Banani is gonna have 4 by the looks of things. But so far, I mean, it's all about his right islands, whether he can take it back. I feel like he should pretty easily be able to take it back. I mean, it's gonna take some time before he clears up all the units, and it was still good for Banani, because he got the maxes for a long time, and he denied it from Blast, but at least Blast gets it back, which is good, because it means that the game is nowhere near ending. It's always... Point of Reach is a great map, but it's always scary for some of the island RNG at the start, where sometimes you just have very bad luck, which leads you to lose both islands, both contestable islands, and then you just lose the game.
Yeah.
There's no PD, the units moved out of the way for Blast SU, so he can kill the first factory for free, and mostly the second one as well. So...
yeah, this is cost effective from Banani, but Blast will get it back. Meanwhile, Blast is doing some nice harassment with frigates all around the map, giving him good intel. Banani has T2 air. Blast a bit late to T2 air, only 30% of the way there.
He is a bit later, but he was on less mass, of course. Although Blast has been doing a bit of a better job at taking some of the middle, small island mixes. He even has an engineer. He's making a proxy factory on the left slice. I feel like that's a bit of a mass waste. That should never ever happen. And making the mixes is fine, but the factory is. I feel when you're already a bit behind like this, you shouldn't really do it. I feel like Blast is way too careful with his ASU.
Yeah, Blast needs to clean this up. Oh, he's got T2 land. Blastus Yenzian's out on the right side.
Okay, well that will seal the deal then. There's no counter for that.
This is where his mass has been going, into Yenzian's.
The Tech 2 HQ mostly, yeah.
Well, yeah.
But have to be a bit careful of the Tech 2 air from Banani. He's making some torp bombers, I guess, to deal with the frigates, considering he was late on that. So that's kind of fine for Blast. It means his ASU is not in danger of a snipe. Although Banani is still being annoying. He made a PD with some engineers on the right side, on the right island, and he's making more factories again.
I mean, very ambitious to do this versus a Seraphim player. But in the meantime, we're seeing Banani try to do some drops, not really succeeding. And Blast continuing to do some good naval harass.
These frigates, the frigate on the left is the Knight 3 Maxes. The frigates on the right haven't really accomplished that much. I guess he can kill some Maxes now, but there's a lot of navy investment now from Banani. There's 7 navy factories and more building. Oh, Blast is on 5, and he's not building more.
Yeah, but Blast does have significantly more frigates out because he built his factory so much earlier.
I think Blast is also gonna have more air investments because he's making Tech 2 air support factories. He queued up his second Tech 2 Pigeon, and he has better adjacency setup as well compared to Banani. So he is literally gonna... Actually, Banani is making Tech 2 support factories as well. But the adjacency is gonna be a lot better for Blast, so, you know, he can spend more power on air.
Yeah, Banani does also have a nice income lead in mass. Not absolutely crushing, but it's giving him some nice pad due to all that early island control that Blast now just has to go and retake all of.
Yeah.
The interesting thing will be if the T2 Flak and Yenzians can get out and do damage elsewhere on the map now.
Yeah, also Blast needs to hurry up and transport engineers on the island he has just secured, because if you just walk... I mean, he has a transport right north of his Tech 2 land HQ, and I feel like he shouldn't have that much build power on his Tech 2 spam. Because it's done its job, and it's still gonna do its job by raiding, but you can't spam it. Like, it's too early for that. Also, his navy engagement on the left is getting torped, and he's kind of donating some mass, so he should be a bit careful there. I mean, the hover might just cross, and go over to the left island, because there's only some Tech 1 spam there, and to some nicely microed Yenzians there, and definitely deal with that.
And I mean, Banani's been investing a lot into torpedo bombers. He's got 4 so far, and that's been nice to clean up the frags, but there is mobile flak with this Yenzian army, and there's nothing really to stop him from just going across to the left.
Oh yeah, but the torpedo bombers definitely get great value. Like, the first 2 already have 400 plus mass skills.
Oh yeah, they've been getting great value cleaning stuff up, but they're not an answer to the T2 land army threat.
No, yeah, of course, but that's where the Cyber Frigatemen will deal with. Some gunships are also being made. I'm wondering when Blast is gonna go for some Notas or some of gunships of his own, because Banani is making turret bombers and some gunships to deal with raids. That means that there's a decent chance Blast has more air right now.
Blast does. Like, he has 10 more interceptors. And he's transporting T2 Flax on transports. I love it.
Kind of funny. It's more important though to secure those mexes on the right islands. There's still 4 untaken mexes, actually 6 if you count the small islands, and then Banani still has a random mex there, and it's small things, but it adds up to like, I mean, that's like 10 mass income difference. That's not nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing Banani pulling ahead with about 145 to 103 mass income. He's been building a lot of T2 mechs for his trouble.
Yeah, he is. But that's why I was saying, like, I expect Notas to be made. Like, the thing is, it doesn't really, like, if you make just 2 Notas, it doesn't hinder your AA production, because Notas still can fight air. But it poses just such a big threat just having 2 random Notas, because you can just one-shot, well, I guess 2 shots with the Notas, but you can one boss the maxes, and it's, you know, you can put so much pressure. There's a big Navy fight, that's gonna go great for Blast, because the Yenzins provide such dense firepower that the frigates from Banani will just get cleaned up.
And all the gunships just got thrown in and were absolutely massacred by the flak, like...
Yeah, it was a great fight for Blast. Especially if you take into account that Banani is investing way more into Navy. He has 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Navy factories.
Oh, and here comes an air fight.
That's a big air fight. That's gonna go great for Blast, because there's some flex supports, plus there's a very delayed turn from Banani.
Oh, the flaks are doing such a good job. There's even engineers being brought in to grab some of the reclaim from this.
Oh, but it died? No.
No!
That's a great move.
Oh, they can build reclaim factories now and just set up here forever.
Yeah, that transport for engineers for reclaim is the best move to do. But he needs to be careful. He can lose this fight in mid, because he's kind of getting overwhelmed a bit. I mean, everyone is sending all the reinforcement here. He needs to make his own aggressive air now, because he passed his air, I think, but...
I mean, he's one air.
But yeah, I know, but he needs to utilize the
air,
right?
He needs to do something with it.
Although he's won the Navy fights for now again as well. I feel like Banani went in too early to try and deal with this, and he kinda, you know, suffers from defeat in detail multiple times over.
And it's like, yeah, Banani, you have a nice eco lead, but you threw away all those gunships basically for free. You lost the naval fight, and guess who's about to get several thousand mass worth of wrecks? It's Blast.
Yeah, he is doing it smartly. He is making AA in his expansions, recognizing the danger.
Oh, the Nothas are here. Or at least singular Notha going over to the to the left side. Maybe get some of those T2 mexes that look pretty vulnerable.
Singular Notha is 4 times as weak as 2 Nothas. It is kind of funny.
That's just how Notha math works.
Blast needs to be careful, because he's kind of pushing with his Navy and hover on the left, but he's kind of leaving the reclaim field undefended to some frigate flank, which is coming in.
Yeah, I feel like he kind of wants to pressure the left side, but he really needs to secure this reclaim field first.
The reclaim field has 6k mass. That's insanely important. I mean, he can actually kill a lot of production on the left side. That's true, but considering the efficient fights he's been having in mid, and that the reclaim he can snowball into more units as well, I guess there's a case to make for both things. I still feel like we should have secured the reclaim fields or stayed on that, but who might say that?
I mean, he might be able to turn around and go get the reclaim field later, after he crushes the production.
But I feel like Banani has so much Navy production that he actually might have invested too much. Although I'm not completely sure, but he has like 20 Navy factories. That's a lot.
It's okay. Blast is helping him get that naval factory count back down.
Well, exactly, but that's why you have to like, if your opponent overinvests in build power, then sacrificing something from yourself to snipe that build power is not exactly worth it. But he is killing it nonetheless. He also has some nice Yenzin raid on the top. Killing some mexes forcing more PDs.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. But Blast he's winning on both fronts. He's killing the production and he's securing the reclaim field.
Reinforcement skills secured the reclaim fight, and that Yenzin stack is just crushing everything. I see a Yenzin with 800 mass kills, one with 600, another one with 800. Like, on average, they have like 500 plus mass kills. They are insane. It's like the frigates are tanking for them, and the issue is mass for mass, Yenzins lose to frigates. Especially if you consider the fact that their range and their vision is also kind of bad, but sometimes if you have enough of them, you can form a really dense clump of them, and then they can just like kill the frigates one by one. Also, they're kind of like Tech 2 Perseus, although to a way weaker extent, of course, where, you know, lots of alpha damage, which also helps in a lot of these fights.
Yeah, the question is, like, Blast is catching back up in the mass income game here. He's in a position to do something, and now look at this. He's got a cruiser coming out to the left side that's just going to completely massacre everything over here as Banani's navy is completely engaged.
I mean, that cruiser should go to mid and kill the front Tech 2 Maxes of Banani. That's what I think, but like the left side is... Oh, I guess there's Tech 2 Maxes there as well. It seems like Banani just... Nah, I don't really think he over-egoed, but at the very least he over-egoed and took bad fights in combination. That just was very bad.
Yeah.
He's touching Tech 2 Navy now at the back of his base, but it is Cyber Tech 2 Navy, which is arguably not very good.
Oh no, the air! It's flying over all the flak!
No!
Get out of there!
There's a drop. Maybe he was locked on that, but he has enough counter for the drop anyway. He has an entire stack of Medusas to instantly kill the dropped arties.
Yeah, this is a lot of stuff. I don't know, will we be able to kill any of these two mexes in a single volley? No, not even close. Oh, but some of them do get away to go and harass further.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on the left side, the Yenzin army has made landfall along with support from the cruiser to take out all these T2 mexes.
Yeah, if the cruiser just focused the PD, then the entire island is gonna die. I mean, it might still anyway because there's some arties in the mix, but honestly, these Tech 2 supports like these Tech 2 factories, land factories, have carried Blast immensely. The Yenzin spam and the flags.
I mean, there's even this, like, arty factory on the left side. I don't know how this got here, but you can, in theory, do a lot.
Arty factory?
Yeah, I mean, Blast has a factory on the left side of the map, just making T1 arties.
Oh, there! What? How?
Yeah, I don't know why it's there or how it got there, but it's there, and it's been helping kill all these arties. Alright, so with all that, Blast has now finally taken the mass income lead, completely removing all of Banani's stuff from the left side island. And more cruisers now showing up in the middle of the map. No TMD prepared.
Yeah, the thing is, against Seraphim you can actually hold, especially if you're Cyber, you can hold against cruisers very easily. Especially on a map like this, where your eco tends to be pretty concentrated, at least if you just TMD up the front of your mid-island, and then you just have to TMD the core 4 max of the other locations, and then you're kinda fine versus Serra cruisers.
Yeah, but you need to go and make that investment before all your T2 maxes die.
Exactly.
And I don't see any TMD.
Banani keeps doing bad frigate engagements, which is not really a way to get back in. He's gonna have his first Salems out. Actually, the second Salem is coming now, and there is no, destroyer counter to those Salems. It's just that Salems are not great at dealing with frigate spam and with hover spam. So it's, even though over a long time they will be efficient, I think it will just take way too long.
Yeah, I mean, Blast is pulling ahead in the economy. Banani is losing his T2 mexes. Even if he gets completely pushed off here, Banani has cleaned up Blast has cleaned up a lot of the mass wreckage. And just turned that into more navy, more Yenzins. And now there's a destroyer.
Yes. And Banani pushes in again on the frigate hover stack, but there's gonna be a second destroyer coming, so it's definitely gonna be enough. And I feel like the longer this goes on, the worse it's gonna be, because there's still 8k reclaim, and it feels like Blast is gonna secure a lot of it. Like, if you secure this important location right in between all your bases, there's very little you can now do, to be honest. I'm having a tougher time seeing a way out for Banani.
Yeah, Banani's plan seems to be just throw everything into T2 naval production and try to make something happen. But the death stack in the middle.
He did kill a destroyer. He did kill a destroyer from last. So if he can like prevent a critical destroyer build-up from last and builds it up for himself, maybe it's fine. But it still doesn't work. Like, again, he loses another 15 frigates that are out of position.
I mean, it just helps that Blast has control of this passage right here. He can decide to go left, he can go north, he can even threaten to go around the right side and just kill all the production over there.
It's very bad if you lose your control over that. That's what I was saying earlier. The cruise on the left side is being chased by a few frigates, which is kind of funny.
It's almost to a second bet. It got its value. But
definitely.
And the problem is,
cruiser gets killed by the Salems. Just sniped the cruiser, Blast just idled it. Although now some Yenzins are getting close to the Salems, and if they don't retreat soon, they are all gonna die. Well, they're gonna take a lot of damage. I think one is dead at the very minimum.
At least the other destroyers are following up, and they can't really shoot backwards very well. So this is gonna be a lot of value for Blast.
Yeah, this, I mean, so far Blast can't really push in one direction because he will be pushed back on the other direction, but again, he might have enough units now to push on both directions at the same time and then not lose either.
I mean, Banani is just barely holding on to his naval production on the left side of the map, which he really needs to actually, hold and maybe build up a frigate force there before throwing them all into the fire again.
Well, yeah, but that's been the plan for like 10 minutes, but he's not really been too safe on those frigates. That's the that's the thing. Like, I feel like with the insane eco advantage that he had, because he had like 30% more mass income at some point, and he just spent it all on frigate spam. And I know it's time when frigates got nerfed, but they're still like in massive numbers. They're still like, you can still overwhelm them, especially if your opponent like Sarah has like some mix of frigates and also hover spam, which means that he can only advance very slowly because the frigates can only move as fast as the hover, right? There's the counter K.
And there we go.
So I feel like Banani definitely missed the opportunity there. I feel like if he was more, if he handled, what's the word? English is hard. If he waited a bit longer, patience, that's the word. If he was